Hey there, Storm fans. I'm Bryant Cook, and today we're playing a Legacy League with the Epic Storm. But we have a special guest with us tonight, and it is Alex McKinley.
Hello, everybody, and I am very excited to be here tonight.
Glad to hear that, Alex. Alex and I have been discussing a change to the Epic Storm over the last few days. And in front of you is a list that I've labeled 11.2. I don't know if this is going to end up staying an official Decklist number, to be completely honest, but it has some thoughts that we've been trying to, explore recently. So some of you might have watched Alex's video from Alex's, what was that, Alex? A Mox
Uh,
qualifier?
Box qualifier top eight, yeah.
Yeah, so Alex did very well in that event, went undefeated up until the top eight, and then unfortunately the wheels sort of came off a little bit. But we're not here to talk about that. Instead, we're going to, explore some of the things that Alex learned when preparing for that top eight run, which was that Alex loved three sideboard Thoughtseize. It allowed a lot of flexibility in non-blue matchups. And, Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the list that I played in that event was hyper specialized for a very blue metagame. So I played carpets in the main deck, and obviously that's not as good for a more general, generic metagame. But the card that I found myself being the most happy about was the sideboard space that I opened up for Thoughtseize. It really helped in combo mirrors. It really helped in the non-blue matchups because people aren't expecting you to have these discard spells anymore. So they will keep utter nonsense do nothing hands just because there's like one lock piece. And then you take that lock piece and then they flounder for several turns if you even if you need those turns, and then you just get to go off.
Okay. Yeah, so that's sort of what we talked about. And then I played in the Legacy Challenge this past weekend. Started off pretty hot, and then, misfortune happened to me. And I learned a couple things Sunday, which is that blue decks are now running more permanent based answers than ever. Part of this is due to the mono green ramp deck. Dampening Spheres come out in numbers because it's good against Storm and it's good against this ramp deck. So Dampening Spheres been out there. I saw a number of Deafening Silence, Aethersworn Cannonist. I saw it all Sunday. Control decks are up to 2 to 3 permanents post board. Then this isn't counting Hull Breacher or Opposition Agent. This is just, like the previous cards mentioned. Dampening Sphere, Deafening Silence, and Aethersworn Canis for the most part. I also saw a large number of labels as well. So Abrupt Decay, it's pretty good. And in most of those post board games, I sat myself just sitting there. I was just sitting there going like, I need to draw Abrupt Decay, I need to draw Abrupt Decay. So Alex, if you're in these situations, what do you do?
Well, I try to draw a replicate, of course.
Yeah, but if
uh,
you're like deck building, what do you do?
yeah, so against blue decks where these hate permanents are coming in, abrupt decay is just clearly the best answer, right?
Exactly.
Uh, so we could just play more of them. So you'll notice that there's three in the sideboard, and there's a distinct absence of Chain of Vapor. So the awkward bit about Chain of Vapor is that it's not very good in these blue against these blue decks because they can just counter it, and then you're still kind of stuck at the same problem. And a lot of times, these hate permanents limit your ability to protect a bounce spell. If it's Canonist or Deafening Silence, you just can't be able to protect it, or you might not have enough mana to protect through a dampening sphere. So decay is truly just the best answer to everything in that arena. And in terms of permanents that we care about that see play these days, most of them except for Karn get hit by decay. Most of the time, yeah, Karn's kind of the game anyway.
Yeah. So that goes into a sideboarding theory that I've had for quite some time that Alex doesn't necessarily agree with all the time, but it's that you shouldn't run cards that you're already favored against. So for this reason, we're 70+% against Death and Taxes. I don't run Massacre. Well, if you look at metagame percentages, Chalice decks are at an all time low. Other than Karn Echoes, which runs Karn, which is pretty much unbeatable. Like, I think I have like a 25 match win percentage against Karn Echoes. And if something's that bad, you should sacrifice any shot of beating them because, like, the difference between 25 and 30% is still, not that important. So if there's only one Chalice deck in the metagame, why are we still playing Pulverize? And that's sort of something we're trying to experiment with tonight. So we're running 3 Abrupt Decay, no Chain of Vapor, no Pulverize, and that's where these sideboard Thoughtseizes gain their space. And you can still board in Thoughtseize against Karn Echoes and Death and Taxes. Death and Taxes is probably the only matchup where Chain of Vapor was actually still good, but you
Mhm.
can just board in Thoughtseize in those slots. In those, when if you were to board in Chain of Vapor, you can now board in Thoughtseize. So it's a little more versatile against combo decks, and hopefully this leads to a more well-rounded sideboard.
Yeah, to bring up a historical example, this is kind of like whenever we try to play Surgical Extraction Tormrod's Crypt against Black Red Reanimator, and it just never mattered
I would agree with that.
meaningfully. So it's the sideboard is to improve our medium matchups and to blast our good matchups.
I would disagree with the second point there, but so we're seeing 4 copies of Carpet of Flowers still. And this is a card I fought for the 4th copy because I was running out of room. I was trying to keep the Pulverize in the board, and I was like, I could run 3 Carpet, but if Rug Delver is still one of the largest contenders in the metagame, the Sunday Challenge, it was still 14% of the metagame, with Snow being 9. So I faced nothing but snow decks for the most part. I think I played 7 rounds. 5 were against snow variants and 2 were against Doomsday. It was literally 5 snow, 2 Doomsday. And it was not very fun for me. So I want to maximize the best card that I can run against Rug Delver that's also good against Snow, because, that's 22% of the metagame, roughly 21%, somewhere in there. And I mean, Carpet's good in other places. I don't even know if like Chalice matchups make up 3% anymore. Probably not. So we're not running Pulverize, and part of there's a subtle switch that happened that isn't in the sideboard. 3 Verdant Catacombs, 2 Bloodstained Mire. And that's to help emphasize turn 1 Carpet of Flowers against these blue decks, because you're able to fetch for Tropical Island more often. That said, I don't love it. This is something I'm just trying out. I know that Alex is a big fan of Verdant Catacombs, but the reason that I don't love it as much is that Tropical Island paired with Badlands is your second best land combination. Your actual best land combination is Underground Sea and Taiga, but sometimes you open up one landers against Rug Delver or one landers against Snow, and fetching for Taiga with blue cantrips in hand can be a little bit awkward. So we are seeing a subtle shift in the fetch lands to 3/2/2 with 3 verdants.
Yeah. And the reason why we didn't shift the actual mana producing lands to maybe take advantage of a third green source or something like that is we still want all 3 of our blue sources in Underground Sea, Volcanic Island, and Tropical Island. So then you're looking at changing either Badlands or Taiga. And I don't think that changing either of those lands is incredibly productive to any sort of goal.
I would agree with that. So it's come up in the Storm Discord recently about not running Volcanic Island. The way that the mana base is constructed right now is you have 3 blue sources, 3 black sources, 3 red sources, 2 green sources. If you cut Volk, you're down to 2 blue sources. And if you swap Badlands into Bayou, it actually creates a big issue with the mana base, because now you only have Underground Sea Taiga as a 2-lane combination to cast Abrupt Decay, because Volk Bayou doesn't do it. Trop Bayou doesn't do it. I mean, Trop Bayou technically does do it, but you're now cut off of red. So it's a bad shift because you don't have all 4 colors. So the mana base is actually still perfect in my opinion, even though we're not playing Pulverized. Having the 3 red sources is just, we are still running Red Flame and Burning Wish and, all those good cards. That's what I have to say about the deck list. Do you have anything else before round 1, Alex?
No, let's get into it.
All right, round 1's coming right up. Welcome to match number 1. I have Alex McKinley with me. We're facing Get Cat. And Alex, I believe that they play lands. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that matchup?
Yeah, so the game 1 is pretty good for us. They really only have mana denial to interact with us. And typically we're faster than their goldfish. So that's all good signs for us. Post-board things get a little bit more complicated. Land sideboards often have upwards of 14 cards to interact with us between Pyroblast, Sphere of Resistance, Mindbreak Trap, Choke, all nonsense like that. So I predict we're going to have a pretty good game 1 and some rougher game 2s.
What do you think of this 7?
I like this 7. I think we have to ponder to try to find Burning Wish or Wishclaw Talisman on turn 1. And if we miss on the ponder, we get to cast Brainstorm on 2 and hopefully go off by turn 3.
I will agree. That said, Lands is a deck that plays Wasteland and Rishadenport. One of
Hmm.
those hinders our ability to cast the Brainstorm on too. So we're
Yep.
gonna see what we can do with this Ponder.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to get the trusty old volcanic island here.
Yep.
Some would say
Double.
it's the worst land in the Epic Storm.
Yeah. But here we're getting it to pair with this swamp to cast all the cards in our hand.
That's pretty close to desirable.
To peer, yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chromox makes 8 mana.
Next turn, no matter what, we get to Burning Wish or Pier.
Mm-hmm. Opponent starts on. They did keep a 7.
Max Diamond.
Alright.
Those are not very
Alright,
threatening
alright.
lands. Don't care about that.
That is a start from our opponent, yeah.
Pier
And
should have been
technically,
6 mana.
technically 8 mana is enough to wish into Echo, but we don't have the double blue, so off the table.
It's worth noting that a Wasteland or a Port here actually shuts us off of the Pier. We do have an Underground Sea on top, which means we can cast this Brainstorm no matter what, but a slight breeze stops us from winning on our turn.
Yeah.
Sylvan Library is a card that really picked up in an era of 2019-2020 Magic due to effects like Uro and Oko, Thief of Crowns.
Yep.
The incidental life gain has made Sylvan Library fairly powerful, and it's a card that hasn't seen a lot of play in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our opponent had the Wasteland. Now they have to decide between casting this Life from the Loam or Wastelanding us.
Alright. Bit of a pickle here, but I think Underground Sea can bail us out, because if this Brainstorm finds any red card, we can win, as well as Lotus Petal are our win conditions here.
Well, we found a Taiga.
Yep.
I think we just have to pass.
Yeah. I think it makes more sense to put the Catacombs on top, right? Versus and put the Brainstorm underneath it.
Why? We're playing Taiga next turn. We can
I
improve
guess,
Brainstorm
yeah,
onto Chromox.
that's right.
Like, Verted Catacomb seems like one of the worst cards. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm open to being wrong. I would just like to know why.
I had some instinct that
You just love
said
Verted
that makes sense.
Catacombs.
I do, I do. I've talked Bryant from 1 copy up to 3. It's been a good.
Whoa, whoa,
It's been
whoa. You did not talk me into the third one. You talked me up to the second one. The third one was my idea. Also,
that's true.
I think I missed. Our opponent is playing Swords to Plowshares in their Loam deck.
That's wild.
Flagstones of Trokir is a pretty cute card when you're running crop rotation.
True. I wonder if there's a consideration for holding the Burning Wish on turn 2, assuming that opponent was going to pay 8 life to Sylvan Library.
The problem with that is if you hold it and then they wasteland you, which is exactly what happened, you're now shut off from the Burning Wish for the rest of the game. Unless you imprint the Rite of Flame and then you don't have enough mana to Tendrils. Oh no. Whatever shall we do? Cast this Pier.
Alright.
Pier City. It's worth noting that putting Brainstorm on top also would have stopped the crop rotation for Bog, exiling those.
Hmm.
So it was just like wrong to ever keep the Verdant.
Yep. All right. This should be plenty, plenty, plenty. Yeah.
I think like
Bryant,
Alex gets like a penny anytime someone plays Verdant Catacombs. Like he's like the Verdant Catacombs agent.
something like that. Right. How many times after resolving Pier have you actually like stopped and looked at your hand to think about what to do, or have you just started clicking
I
cards?
just start clicking. There's too many cards to like sit there and look. So if I cast enough of them, I'll get to see all of them.
That's also my strategy.
There's only one game that I've ever lost post Pier, and it's not because Pier failed. It's because I messed up when trying to play around Double Stifle.
Hmm.
Like I could have won the game had I played smarter. All right, so our opponent's on lands. I like these abrupt decays, and I also like Thoughtseize, but our opponent could be a Mindbreak deck. So I'm actually only going to bring in 2 Thoughtseize, and I'm definitely boarding out these Veils. We're going to leave Defense Grid, because the Defense Grid helps play around Mindbreak Trap. So Alex, we have one card we want to board out. What would you side out?
So there's a couple of options. I think Ponder isn't generally what you want to be doing against lands. All the artifact mana is usually pretty good, especially against their mana denial strategies. Um, I think we still want all of our expensive cards, though Echovions is riskier because they tend to board in Pyroblast versus us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we just want to cut Ponder.
All right, you heard it here. Alex McKinley says board out Ponder. Blame Alex McKinley. Actually, that's what I would do as well. Alex is just a very smart guy. That said, if we lose, blame Alex McKinley. And if you're enjoying this content, why don't you check out theepicstorm.com/shop, get all of your card singles there. But also, while you're there, why don't you check out some cool The Epic Storm merchandise? One of my personal favorite items is the Storm 20 baseball tee. It's great in the summer, not so much in the winter. So if you're going to buy it, maybe you put it in your closet for a few months until it starts to warm up. Or if you're, south of the equator, it's perfect timing. Theepicstorm.com/shop. Game 2. Alex, I heard you make a weird noise when our hand was revealed. Why was that?
This hand is not very good. Despite having Metalcraft and Mox Opal, this hand doesn't have a plan. It's all mana. Uh, I think we should mulligan.
All right, Alex McKinley says to Mulligan. We will keep. Opposite problems.
So, Brian, what do you want to do with this hand then?
I would keep. We have 4 tutors. What could go wrong?
Yep. So, in contrast to our previous hand, mana is the most common part of our deck, so we're most likely to draw more mana off the top. That said, I don't think we need all of these tutors.
I would agree. I would actually ship this hand. I was only messing with you. I don't plan on keeping this.
Of course.
Is this what they call a balanced hand, Alex?
I think so. I haven't really seen one of those yet, but yep.
All right. So, due to us being low on cards, I'm not interested in playing around Mindbreak Trap. And Chromox isn't really that sexy when we need to imprint. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. And part of the reason I think it's actually not that great is if we're ever going to cast a Abrupt Decay, that Chromox isn't helping right now. So I'm just going to ship and try to fix her hand with this Ponder. Ooh. What's the play?
Given our opponent didn't do anything, I am in favor of slamming this Thoughtseize.
I am too. That said, I'm probably getting Underground Sea and then getting Wastelanded. We could go get the basic swamp, but then we're stranded with these. So
Yeah, I think getting the swamp basically just wastelands us to begin with.
and at least this gives us the chance of getting ahead. And no Wasteland.
But what a
Double Meddling Mage. What a sideboard.
Yeah,
I think
like
the
said,
Spirit's actually scarier than the Meddling Mages.
I agree. Yeah, like we mentioned in game one, the sideboard of these lens decks tend to be pretty hateful. So
What a Wilds lands list. Are we
mhm.
even still facing lands? Did I fall asleep and wake up in a new matchup?
Apparently we are facing like a white lands deck,
This is
not
four
traditional red.
color. We saw red in game
Yeah,
one.
true. So is this like an evolution of loam, like blue loam? But they had exploration.
I think what happened is someone saw the Yorion Reclaimer elves and then merged it with the Ruggles Lands list, and those two lists had a kid, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Hmm.
Their kid is a little bit deformed. Uh, doesn't look that good on paper, but maybe it works.
Yeah, this is definitely. I did not expect them to fetch that land, but opponent's deck definitely has some hateful cards that are going to be difficult for us to beat. Uh, we'll see what their first meddling mage is on. Um, I would note that our sideboard changes have made us a little bit weaker to meddling mage because the first meddling mage on abrupt decay means that we can't ever kill further meddling mages without burning wish into grape shot.
I don't think they're going to name Abrupt Decay though. Like even on their second one, I'd be shocked if they named Abrupt Decay. They'd have to be like a level 5 head. Incoming Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. I think that there's like four reasonable names, which is like Burning Wish, Ad Nauseam, Tendrils, and Decay.
If only we had Massacre on our board.
True.
I honestly don't even think that this is a good plan against combo. Because it still struggles against what Lands does in general, which is a turn 1. Well, there's that Burning Wish.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just going to put it back. Is that crazy? And then just ponder?
I like Pondering, yeah.
Because, like, the second one, if we, like, wait and Abrupt Decay it, that gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they actually do name Abrupt Decay, then it looks really bad. Okay. I see you.
So we could technically echo this turn, but I think that that's worse than just um, giving opponent another turn.
Really. I actually sort of like echoing right now. Because then it guarantees that our Wish Claws don't get locked out.
That's fair.
Or if they top deck another Spirit of the Labyrinth.
So one of the reasons why I liked holding was because we did have the Abrupt Decay in hand, but we'll see what happens now.
But, okay, so hypothetically, your opponent plays Meddling Mage. They name Wishclaw Talisman. What are you doing next turn?
Probably like decaying one of the meddling images and then
Then Echoing, which is essentially what we just did because they still end up with one Meddling Mage in play.
maybe we get an extra mana out of that.
I think it was correct because you're dodging them naming Abrupt Decay or Spirit of the Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Okay.
all those targets. All right,
This suggests that we wield our opponent into not a very good hand because casting Skyclave onto an empty board is like pretty profitable for us.
I like this.
Yep. Just gonna put all our blue lands into play.
I'm gonna keep the Burning Wish around.
Mm-hmm. Keeping Burning Wish gives us more outs because if we draw a card like Abrupt Decay, then we have outs to win with the Burning Wish in our hand, and we don't need to find a Wishclaw Talisman.
Although we're gonna get slammed by Choke if they have one. I feel like this is a keep. I don't know.
So, yeah, I think I like Brainstorming. I think that there's potential for us to natural tendrils. So I think I'd be interested in drawing those two cards. Like, I guess our hand only has 5 Storm, 6 Storm in the tendrils, but opponent has shown that they're pretty willing to draw a lot of cards off Sylvan Library. and we're not exactly on a slow clock here.
Yeah, that's true. Uh-oh.
Speaking of not a slow clock, we have this turn left. I guess we brainstorm off the sea because we have the swamp in hand.
Yikes. I think we might be dead.
Yeah, I don't even think we can get above 24.
One
Right.
storm, two storm, three storm, four storm, five storm, six storm. Yeah.
I guess we get one more turn, but like, what are we doing with that turn?
Do we? We go up to 20, right?
We just storm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Then we have to
7,
fetch, or else we can't win.
8. Yeah,
So six storm is 12 life.
7 storm. We have 1 storm already.
Sure. But we're just dead if they activate this.
Yeah. We're just 12. We're just dead. I suppose we have to make the token, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, opponent, you got us.
Game 3. So I'm sort of less interested in grid now than I was before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to board in this Thoughtseize and then Ponder. Because I almost don't think that they're on Mindbreak traps. I think they just might be like hate bears.
Yeah. They could have a card like Dovin's Veto. I wouldn't be shocked at that. But
34% every turn. Yeah, I think we're supposed to keep this.
Yeah, so this is different than keeping Veil of Summer plus mana, because this Thoughtseize actively disrupts our opponent, and especially because we're on the play and we get to fetch for basic Swamp. I think that we're like, this is not a bad game plan for us, especially if they start mulliganing.
This feels like a 2018 The Epic Storm hand. That awkward period in between 4 empties and then the Wishclaw lists.
I mean, we had 4 empties in a lot of those lists, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't really the 4 empty era.
No, it was post-probe.
Yeah. Like the 4 therapy, 4 empty, 4 probe lists were just bananas.
Yeah, it always felt like that list had like this awkward flex slot that nothing felt good in.
The 2018 sort of lists?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the probe lists were they were so good. Anthony and I just dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Opponent has gone to 4.
Yeah, that makes this Thoughtseize better and better and better. Like I mentioned in the intro, a lot of decks aren't playing around us having discard, and this is a little bit of Brewer's advantage. But our opponents are willing to keep these hands where they just have one good card, and we just get to tear it all to shreds. Hopefully.
That said, even though they're mulliganing to 4, we might be giving them a lot of time.
Yep. If opponent keeps something like land, hate bear, that's still like not great for us.
Get this basic. It might have actually been better to get the Swamp of the Mire.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because we can't get Trop with this. But I guess this can get Volk when we have Rite of Flame and Burning Wish. I don't know. Maybe this was secretly right. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, but opponent did keep one good card plus 3 lands. So, not a bad spot for us to be in.
One of the lands, though, was Dark Depths.
True.
I guess Flagstones actually secretly acts like an Urborg in this list, because if you sack it crop rotation, it makes a mana and then go gets one. That's kind of cute.
Yeah. That's not
looking
the word you
good.
draw.
No, but our opponent has Dark Depths. If they draw crop rotation next turn,
Mm-hmm. Yep. The lack of Chain of Vapor is definitely a weakness against Merit Lage.
they're casting crop rotation? Why would you show me this a turn early? So we actually have to
Hopefully
draw
miss,
something next turn now, or else we die
hopefully they
to
miss
the...
out on the mana.
Well, they didn't get Thespian
I guess.
Stage. Oh no, they could get Thespian Stage with this. So we actually have to draw live next turn, or else we're dead.
Yep.
We're gonna lose to this Moldifor. And we let on Thoughtseize.
Yep. Here we are begging up Thoughtseize, and we can't take the most important card in their hand.
Okay, deck. Now or never.
Mm-hmm.
It's a magic card.
All right. Are we going all in on this Ponder?
I think so.
Yep. I think we pitch the Rite of Flame, yeah, because this gives us a red mana post Ponder, and we can crack the LD for blue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, this play that we're about to do, I like to call the Swartz. Landon. This was probably Landon's favorite thing to do when playing the Epic Storm. We have 8 mana, so Wishclaw for Ad Nauseam does it. We could find Echo. We could find Ad Naus itself.
I believe we have 9 mana from this Chrome Mox, so
Yes.
Burning Wish.
Well, I just
here.
meant that we have 8 mana there.
Yep.
But Burning Wish for Pier works.
We are live for so many of our outs.
Is this any of our outs?
I don't believe so. I think we should shuffle this.
Is that an out? No? Okay.
No.
Well, I guess we just lost to a mulligan to 4, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Ugh. Womp womp. Okay. Match number 2 will be coming right up. All right. Round number 2. Alex, that was a tough round 1. We're looking to bounce back. Hopefully we can do that here. We're on the play. I have no clue what our opponent's on. What do you think of this 7?
This hand's really interesting. Like, we have Echo, we have Ad Nauseam, so we're looking to just draw more mana and protection. Like, this hand could be really fast depending on what we draw, or it could kind of flame out. I like keeping it in the dark. This hand feels powerful.
Yeah. Basic Island.
So Island Go means that this Ponder was a pretty good draw. So this means that we could be facing something fair, something unfair. It could be snow.
So this Lion's Eye Diamond turns on Echo. It also allows us to accelerate into Mox Opal. That said, it doesn't protect us, which is a little, concerning. I think I actually want to shuffle.
I would consider taking the LED and then shuffling afterwards, but I think either play is fine.
All right, we'll do the McKinley line. My concern with that is it's one less opportunity to draw protection, but maybe that doesn't matter.
That's fair. End of turn Brainstorm from our opponent.
We could also always try the old you can force my Ad Nauseam, but now I get to Echo.
Yep. Because we are actually at Ad Nauseam mana in our hand, and we could technically do that next turn depending on what our opponent is doing here.
Correct, but it's looking a little more Delvery.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of Delver lists recently that have ensued, or that have started picking up basic islands and cutting green creatures from their deck in favor of more red creatures to have more stability in the mirror and to be able to go wide against decks like Death and Taxes.
Ooh.
That's a pretty perfect draw.
Unfortunately, we're a mana short right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate throwing out the Veil and seeing what happens and then trying to echo afterwards if it resolves.
That's what McKinley wants. That's what McKinley gets.
Yeah. So the upside of echoing here is that we get to draw a bunch of cards, or we just get to him to Torok our opponent.
Silence mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if opponent dazes here, I am paying 100% of the time. I think that that's great for us if they daze. Opponent decided to force. So this Dreadhorde does represent a real clock in terms of opponent drawing cards. So I think that's why Bryant is continuing to go off here, even though our veil did get countered.
Correct. We're going to float mana with this Mox Opal and then discard our hand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, opponent. Don't you dare have it.
Yep. And we're floating the extra blue here because even if when this Echo does resolve, we probably don't necessarily want to continue to go off unless our hand is just nuts. And if we just cast a cantrip or two off of this, that's perfectly fine. Speaking of a cantrip or two, here's a Defense Grid and a Ponder.
Double Chromox is a tiny bit awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that resolved. So if we find Ad Nauseam or Tendrils off this, 2 1-ofs, 2 out of 46. This is good enough for me. I'm definitely going to keep this.
I also like keeping this. Brainstorm lets us upgrade these Chromoxes into real magic cards like Rite of Flame or Dark.
Wait, did I just hear you say that Rite of Flame is a real magic card, Alex McKinley? Aren't you the person that just cut Rite of Flame from his TES list? How dare you now try to crawl back to Rite of Flame after you cut it? Now it's a real magic card? Alex, explain yourself.
It's more of a real magic card than Chromox in this situation. I do think that Rite of Flame is the next card to be obsoleted, and I think that you were the first one to cut Rite of Flame from TES almost 2.5 years ago at this point in some experimental lists. White mana from our opponent.
That's shocking.
I don't think it is. There's been a deck that's run around that plays that card. That is, it's basically Dreadhordes and Monastery Mentors are their creatures threat. They play 1 to 2 dazes and the full 6 forces, Astrolabes and cantrips, as well as counterbalance. Our opponent does get to pick which card they put on top from this Brainstorm, and they get to establish a very Jace the Mind Sculptor plus counterbalance like engine here, so they get to pick which number to chalice us on here. I don't know if we have the time to not jam into it. But
that is not the move.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I wonder if this is why opponent let our Defense Grid resolve, because they figured they could just counterbalance us out of the game.
Womp womp. That's gonna bounce her grid.
Yep.
Sad.
A possible line there was we could have floated mana with Mox Opal, and then in response to our opponent cantripping, we could have cast Brainstorm on their turn to try and get them in a spot where they could be vulnerable.
Teferi Time Raveler.
You're correct. Oh, that card does too many things. It's a little bit harder to brainstorm with the Teferi, or with our Defense Grid in play as well.
Opponent chose not to flash back. We're going to draw this Rite of Flame. I think we just cast the grid here and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Opponent, I think, has the least number of 2s in their deck, so it's pretty likely that this can come back down on the table, unless they reveal another Dreadhorde.
Pitching
Or
counterbalance.
that happens. Oh, they have more counterbalances as well. I think this list plays 3 counterbalances.
And they chose
Uh,
not to ponder as well, which means that they put a 1 on top. I'm just going to pass here.
mm-hmm. A 1 or a 0.
I think it's pretty probable it's a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of just not playing in a counterbalance if you don't have to. I'm pretty sure they had an astrolabe on top. Old counterbalance. They chose to shuffle off ponder.
So you're saying there's a chance?
We should draw Tendrils of Agony. That would be in our best interest.
Yes, I am a big fan of Tendrils of Agony at this spot.
And another ponder. Chooses to shuffle.
All right, all right, all right.
Preordain. Cantrips for days.
Mm-hmm.
2 on top. Sad.
Spawn has figured out that they like one of the cards that they left on top.
Ponder. And we're effectively counterbalance locked here.
Yeah. And this Dreadhorde is just going to generate infinite card advantage. This feels very similar to Counterbalance plus Jace. Yeah. Like Brian said, drawing Tendrils is our best way back into this game where we can try and cast our whole hand even into the counterbalance and then still go off and Tendrils our opponent, but it's going to be pretty difficult when they're drawing 3 cards a turn now.
Yeah.
Counterbalance is a strong magic card. Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, and we can't even brainstorm at interesting times to try and get them on
because of the Teferi.
On a trigger because of the Teferi.
We're actually like pretty far away from the Tendrils too.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of continuing to play games where I've been locked out by counterbalance most of the time.
Neither am I. That said, our opponent's down to 18 minutes, and we're still at 15 life. Oh. I don't know. And I think, like, if we sit here and take our lumps, it forces them to play differently in a hypothetical game 3 where they feel the need to kill us quicker. And there's a win condition.
Yep. That will kill us very likely next turn. So if they make 2 monks this turn, off 2 cantrips, and they flashback both cantrips next turn, are we just deterministically dead? 1, 2. Okay. Well, the window is closing.
Reveals Teferi to counterbalance. They kept Teferi on top. It's kind of weird.
This is our window.
They didn't shuffle. So it's a little strange to me that they would have put Teferi on top.
Mm-hmm. Well, opponent, we have more brainstorms.
So if for some reason this Veil of Summer resolves, it will stop the counterbalance.
Yep.
And we cannot brainstorm in response due to Teferi, so this Veil is going to get countered and then lock out the rest of our hand.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Alright, next game. That was delightful. 7 green cards. Boarding out these Rite of Flames, as great as they are. Don't let Alex McKinley tell you otherwise. Alright, so Alex, we have to board out one more Mox. Which Mox do you prefer siding out?
I think I prefer siding out of Chrome. Just because against these slower control decks, you just need more cards.
Okay. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't have a strong argument against it. We'll have 17 artifacts post board. Seems fine. It is still more than Vintage Paradoxical Outcome, which I think plays too few artifacts personally, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. Alright, we need to get this game. I think that this is a keep. Alex is pretty quiet, so I'm guessing he doesn't have an opinion.
No, I do. I think this hand is pretty good. This carpet should do some work. I think there's an argument to not play it on turn 1. But I don't know.
I just don't think we can afford to get it dazed. And we want to hold this stuff for tendrils.
True. Interesting that opponent fetched a Tundra here.
Not very interesting.
Turns out it's not interesting.
Alright, let's draw a Brainstorm. Fix this hand up a little. Miserable. It's worth noting that if that was a Chromox, we could have emptied. Not that I'm saying that that's like a great play, but it would have been an option.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have worked. I think it's pretty likely that opponent has some sort of counter magic in their hand.
The weird chair was pretty brutal there. They shuffled.
Yeah, LED isn't bad though.
They're at 18. We have 7 cards. So let's assume they force Burning Rush. That's Storm 8. So short. I think we have to pass here.
Mm-hmm.
We have the game plan now. You can have a mentor. No, literally, I just wanted to be like any card we could actually cast.
Yeah. Do we just move to end step and discard it? I guess the other option is that we have Burning Wish for Thoughtseize. to try to clear the way for it. One
Well, I
more.
think Burning Wish is going to get forced, is the thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate just discarding Echo here, but dealer's choice.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best play.
Opponent does get to go off here a little bit with the best White Storm card.
That is true. So it ended up Opal was better than Chromox due to how this game played out. Just not requiring a resource with this hand is like pretty valuable. We just need to draw like another Dark Ritual, a Lion's Eye Diamond, something.
Ray of Flame is a card, I guess.
That's in
I
our
don't know,
sideboard.
it's in our sideboard. Carpet's actually like insane on this board. They probably have to force carpet.
If they force Carpet, we don't actually have enough mana to Burning Wish and Tendrils all in one turn. So that's not even good for us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, there it was. Alex wished it into existence.
I wonder if they would counter Dark Ritual before carpet.
Oh, well, they're going to counter that Lion's Eye Diamond, which shuts off our Opals.
Yeah. That is kind of awkward.
Yeah. Hopefully this Carpet resolves.
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
All right. Progress. We might sneak this game away.
You mean sneak earn this game?
Ooh, and we even have enough to Thoughtseize them here. So I think that this is a turn that like shows that sequencing is important.
And they didn't wear tear the carpet. Oh my.
Oh.
Because they thought they were going to get to Pyroblast us.
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
I think that makes a lot of sense from our opponent's perspective, but whew.
Wow. We won that. That was fun.
Hmm. This is interesting. Like this is like ponder for second land and shuffle at anything that is in second land.
Yeah.
It's got a bunch of protection.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't love it. There's a card that like I think is going to crush us if they play it. Brainstorm's a fine draw.
Mm-hmm. Just start slamming our 2-drops.
Those are cards. Still looking to avoid that card, though. Alright, that's a good sign.
Yep, opponent can cantrip all they want. So I also like playing Talisman here. Opponent has shown us that they play Wear Tear in their deck, and if they just want to blow up this Talisman, that's a-okay with me, because that means their defense grid next turn is in a better spot. They also have to spend 2 mana to answer our 2 mana, so it's like a very, very even trade.
We have another claw on top as well. It looks like they have the wear tear. Coward. Coward. So, question for you, Alex. Do you like grid or do you like claw here?
It's really close. I'm not actually sure. We could play grid with Veil backup, but that's really bad into Teferi or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think if they had Teferi, they would have played Teferi last turn.
I do agree. And for that reason, I am playing defense grid. Now we get to cryptic command them. Ooh. Blowout. Alright, so they have 3 cards in hand. One of them's a basic island.
Yep. 2 are 4 bangers.
3 bangers and a quarter.
But when we draw this LED next turn, it'll be 5 bangers.
What is this? 3 mana. One of which is red.
Arcanist? 2 mana now.
Is this a blood moon? What's going on here? Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Sure.
Accept. Alright. That's spicy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I could echo, but I don't really want to, so I'm just gonna play this claw and pass.
Yeah, I might have played out a pedal to play around Days.
That's fair.
But clearly opponent doesn't have Days, so.
What are their last 2 cards?
They could be lands. Could be like a Pyroblast or something. Have we given them the chance to Pyroblast anything? I don't think so, right?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that they have a Pyroblast.
In theory, not that I want to jinx it into existence. It could be Hardcast Force Negation. We can cast Ednaz with these 3 lands and still have 6 mana next turn for this Echo.
Mm-hmm.
We beat Spell Pierce here, Days, and Adnaz resolves. Let's see some zeros.
At least the Echo is already out of the deck.
Always a plus.
These carpets are all +1. I guess we could have kept going there, but.
So if you flip again, you risk dying to Lightning Bolt. Not that I think Bolt is in their deck, but
I think it's in their 75.
yes, but it was probably boarded out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And BC wins the match. Hey, yeah, that was a wild one.
take your counterbalances and go back to 2018.
All right, match number 3 will be coming up in just a second. All right, round number 3, we're facing Nathan Golia of the Eternal Durdles podcast. I am on the Eternal Glory podcast, where Phil Bleckman is our editor, and Phil is on Eternal Durdles, so we're slightly connected. I'm on the play. Nathan recently has been tweeting a lot about Dead Guy Al. Alex, I don't know if Nathan's actually on it. What do you think of this?
So if our opponent's on Dead Guy Ale, this hand is a little bit slow. Like, it really needs some help. Like, this pounder has to be hit perfect. But I really hate mulliganing Wishclaw Talisman and Lion's Eye Diamond. That's kind of where my thoughts are with this hand.
So, for what it's worth, if we're worried about Wasteland, we could just play Mire, play LED Pass, because we get to hold up this Veil of Summer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that.
I'm not super up to date with Dead Guy Ale lists. What do they look like these days? Are they more Death and Taxes like, or are they more Pox like? I know that your co-host Phil Gallagher posted a list that looks more like
Thoughtseize, Hymnatorok, Wasteland. They're not super Death and Taxi. Like, they play Stoneforge, but no Thalia. They do have a what is it called? Opposition Agent. They are playing that.
Yeah, Agent's a little bit terrifying, but this seems like a good exchange for us here.
Ooh, take that, Nathan. Take that. I'm trash talking Nathan and he can't even hear me. I'm an adult. Alright.
So playing our fetch land here makes a lot of sense because our opponent could have something like Dark Ritual into Opposition Agent next turn. Or depending on what other mana acceleration they are playing.
It looks like a Hymnatorok.
Except.
And they took the 2 worst cards out of our hand. It was the opposite of a double Thoughtseize.
Alright, let's put our Ad Nauseam on the stack.
What's more embarrassing, Alex? Not to make fun of Nathan here, but registering Dead Guy L or registering Pox?
Ooh. That's close. I don't know. So Pox, you get to play a bunch of like really neat Legends enchantments cards if you want. Dead Guy L, you're trying to like recreate success and like take 2 bad decks and put them together.
So does that mean that you think Pox is a good deck? That was a very serious question that you just dodged, McKinley.
I do not believe that Pox is a good Legacy Magic the Gathering deck.
Take that, leaving a Legacy Facebook group.
What I do believe is good, however, is this set of cards in our hand. We probably need to cast this Brainstorm.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown-ass man. I can do what I want.
Plays Defense Grid to make sure that there's no possibility of opponent having main deck Mind Break Trap.
Oh, and look at that. Double Tendrils. We're a mana short, though.
Yeah. It is, fun fact, it's impossible to kill yourself with Tendrils if your opponent has like a misdirection effect or something like that.
Funny you mentioned that. One of the first times that I ever played Storm Combo was in Vintage. And my opponent drew Ancestral Recall for Mindslavered me and then drew Ancestral Recall. And I drew the Yawgmoth's Will that was left. And it worked out that if they Ancestraled me, I would have like 3 cards left in deck, but there's only 2 Brainstorms or something weird. And I was 1 card short of decking. And whatever it was is like I was going to win on my turn with like creature damage or something, even though I was playing Storm. Like I think I might have had Blightsteel, or no, it was Darksteel in play. And they played the Ogwill, they couldn't kill me, and then they put Tendrils on the stack, and they targeted me for a bunch. And I said I lose, and then started picking up my cards. And I mean, I didn't like pick up all of them. I just like started to get my stuff, and the judge was watching, like, because we were the last match done, and they go, "Are you conceding?" and I say, I am dead to the tendrils. And they just said, are you conceding? And I repeated myself. I'm like, this card kills me. And they're like, are you conceding? And I was just like, as like this like really angry like 14-year-old kid, I was like, this card kills me. Like, what are you not getting? And like the judge just like wouldn't say anything else other than, are you conceding? And I just like angrily shoved my cards together. And then after the match, my opponent was like, yeah, this card can't kill you. But like the way that the judge was wording it just like made me so upset. And I would have won, which would have actually gotten me into the top 8 of like a Mox event.
Oh
A
wow.
Mox being
Do
like
we?
a win a physical Mox whatever, not like a MOC S
Mhm.
event.
Yeah. So your story is
Oh,
wonderful, but I'm wondering about our
yeah,
sideboard here. Do we really want to take out these Veil of
my
Summers?
bad. Yeah,
I don't. I think we just don't need Thoughtseize.
yeah, agree
Um,
there. I think I'm fine shaving one veil though.
yeah, I think Veil of Summer is not actually that great against this card because it taxes us. It effectively ports us to leave up Veil of Summer when we really just want to be casting spells and tapping out every turn. Ooh.
Oh, they mulliganed. What do you think,
I'd
McKinley?
I'd be tempted to do the same. If this hand gets Thoughtseized, it feels so bad.
I kind of want to keep
The,
it.
the rationale for keeping this hand is that we have Chromox pitch one of our blue cards and then cast the other. If Brian wants to do that, Brian can do that. I am washing my hands of that play. I do not feel comfortable keeping this hand, but
All right, we're gonna
do
win,
it.
McKinley. You just wait.
Yep, that's usually what happens. Is I want to take a conservative line, Brian takes an aggressive line, and then Brian's line wins. It's just how it rolls.
Our opponent's gone to 5.
Scrubland, pass.
Ooh.
This makes the decision about what we pitch to Chromox much easier. Oh,
My name is Alex McKinley, and I am not brave.
I would have definitely pitched the
But
second brainstorm there.
yeah, well, that's wrong. Um, but look at this. We have a win through a Hymnatorok on turn 2,
Mhm.
and an opposition agent. And you wanted to ship this hand.
I mean, we have to like not get our brainstorm hymned, right?
No, there's another brainstorm on top.
Oh, okay, neat.
Always had it. Remember that time you wanted to mulligan this completely insane hand?
Yep. I already predict what was gonna happen, so
I'm just saying that like you were gonna ship this completely insane hand, and instead I was like, nah, that ain't me.
yeah. I think we hit the case where opponent didn't have turn one Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek though.
You just gotta believe.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
All right,
gaslighting you right now.
Deck. Deck is gonna reward you with an Echo Beyonds and 2 flips.
Well, that's what it's looking like. We do get to play a
uh,
land here.
I think this wins because we have Talisman rotate for Dark Ritual, but before we do that, we get to activate or play our opals, right? I didn't actually count that out. I just said it.
That's fine.
Oh, we can just like I don't even think we need to rotate for Dark Ritual. We might need to storm count wise. Chromox is pretty good. So Chromox is Storm 8, Dark Ritual is Storm 9, and Tendrils is Storm 10.
Always be playing Taiga. That's
Yep.
a good like life role. Incoming Mind Breed Trap. Nathan says, good games. Alright, so that puts us up to 2-1.
Alright, alright.
Alright, welcome to round number 4. We are facing Gregorio 77. I can only assume that as a 77, they are playing Rainbow Depths. Alex, what do you think?
I don't know, that's a Goblin's avatar. So,
I'm going to
we'll see
go
what's
with
happening.
Rainbow Depths.
Either way, I think I'd keep this hand in almost any matchup that we're playing.
You heard it here first. Alex McKinley likes well-balanced hands. Well-rounded
I do, in
hands.
fact, love well-rounded hands. I would trade this Chromox for a Veil of Summer, though, if I had to make, like, a pristine, balanced 7.
I mean, you can't even cast Veil of Summer, but sure.
Yeah, that's fair. Defense grid, then.
What about these?
I like those. Let's draw the Burning Wish, and then the Wishclaw Talisman next turn.
No.
Okay.
You cannot have that. Instead, I will do this, so that way if they Thoughtseize us, we can peer.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in my opinion, is just better.
Suppose just to be playing like Rug Delver or something.
No, they're totally going to be playing Hep Depths. Alright, they're on Goblins. You win, Alex. Fine.
You know, this could be burn.
Goblin Lackey. You called it. You had the foresight to just know that our opponent doesn't like, reasonable magic cards.
Yeah, can we peer here?
I believe so. So that's 5 plus 4 is 9, which is exactly enough.
Yeah, we should play the Chromox for Storm Count.
This is
So,
twice in 2 nights that I've been on a call with someone where our opponent played a Goblin Lackey and then promptly died. I did a vintage tutoring session last night, and that also happened where somebody decided to play Goblin Lackey in vintage against my Underworld Breach. Alex, I've been playing Legacy so long, I remember a time where people wanted a Goblin Lackey banned. I think Alex has disappeared for a second. But that's okay. We will finish massacring this Goblin Lackey.
my mic ended up muted, my bad. Yeah. Goblin Lackey is not nearly as impressive as it used to be, though. It is impressive more than it was in 2019 with the printing of Mux's Goblin Grandy.
I will agree there. So, Goblins was the first deck in Legacy to really abuse Rishadan paired with Wasteland back in 2005. And it was a force to be reckoned with because back then your Wraths all cost 4 mana. I used to play actual Wrath of God, and you could just never cast that card against Goblins.
Interesting. I think in 2005 I was about 8.
The math checks out. I mean, in 2005, I was also a youngin.
So, recently, Goblins has been one of the decks that's been popularizing Mindbreak Trap as a sideboard option.
Interesting.
So, this means that these Thoughtseizes are pretty good, and they're also good against Pyroblasts or potential Spheres or Chalices or whatever.
What do you think
other
of
cards.
this?
I like this. I think Goblins decks tend not to have that many cards.
It says 59. Did I mess something up? Yeah, there's a Ray of Flame missing. There we go. Can't be boarding out the best card in the deck.
Hashtag Dan Ray of Flame. But if you end up with these hands that are overloaded on answers, the Goblins deck will just deploy more threats than you have answers. So you kind of just need to kill them, and it's just kind of a race.
I mean, I'm a little upset that our opponent is a 77 and they aren't running Hep Depths, aka Rainbow Depths, aka Bug Turbo. But, it is what it be.
This hand is good.
I'm interested to see what our opponent does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, Alex, I am not afraid of a Goblin standoff.
Yeah? You're willing to empty the Warrens versus the Warrens themselves?
I'm willing to prove that we are the better Goblins deck.
All right.
I mean, let's see what our draw step has to say, but I'm not afraid to do it.
Mm-hmm. Opponent is on a mulligan to
6.
6. All right. Turn 1 Lackey is good.
Brainstorm's interesting here.
Mm-hmm. So if we brainstorm and hit a non-artifact card, it doesn't actually affect our ability to go off.
Yeah, I actually don't mind casting Brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was pretty good. So we can put back Wish Claw
And a Chromox.
and a Chromox, and that allows us to peer.
Yep. And I think attempting to peer here is better than getting hit by Goblin Lackey next turn.
Oh, is that how magic works?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't going to figure that one out on my own. That's why I asked you to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome, Bryant, for this insightful legacy conversation. Well, the real consideration is that we probably have the opportunity to play around Mindbreak Trap, but it lets our opponent hit us with Goblin Lackey a few times, and that's probably not very good for our health in this game. So I'd rather just take the chance to win the game here, rather than give our opponent outstraw more cards, draw more towards things that can kill us.
They're starting to pause on every card. I think it might be a bluff. I don't really care either way. I'm casting this card.
Mm-hmm.
No fear.
Yep.
Casting the Pia. Survey says 25 cards.
All right. And I assume somewhere in these 25 cards is the opportunity to play around Mindbreak Trap. But if you're sitting on the other side of the table and you're inexperienced playing in Storm, just Mindbreak Trap us there. Don't get cute and try and get the tendrils.
Well, Alex, there's been this like running meme for a long time that like the Epic Storm is the better Goblins deck. How do you feel about that?
I think I agree. I think that we're a worse Goblins deck than we used to be, but I think that we're still like better at making more Goblins than our opponents does. Though Sling Commander and Muxus are very good at making Goblins themselves.
I would agree with that.
I think eventually we can just cast the Tendrils from hand.
Eventually.
I think Brian has more farting around that he'd like to do.
Exactly. Oh no, we're not casting you yet, Burning Wish.
Cast this Dark Ritual. They might concede to Burning Wish, to be honest.
I hope not. I have plans.
Alright, that's not a bad keep from the opponent. Turn to waste us plus Muxus.
So, I'm going to cast this Burning Wish.
For those interested, this is not the correct play. This is just merely the fun play.
Alright, so I'm adding a red and I'm going to hit F6 because I believe it will stop me before I switch phases.
Yes.
Now I turn off auto yields. Hold control. I don't have anything against this Goblins opponent other than the fact that we are a better Goblins deck. And sometimes you just gotta send a message. Oh, all right. What do you think about this for the YouTube cover, right here? What do you think?
Pretty solid thumbnail.
All right. Enough joking aside. Match number 5 will be coming right up. Final match of the night. I'm here with Alex McKinley. We're facing Kentaro Hikori, and we're on the plate again. 5th match in a row. Alex, is being on the plate 5 times good?
Seems fine.
Okay. Do you like it against Rug Delver?
I do enjoy being on the play versus Rug Delver because
Okay,
that's what the deck that our opponent is most commonly known for. And this hand is very slow.
I'm keeping it. You
Yep.
can't stop me. I'm gonna draw a Lion's Eye
Yep.
Diamond off the top, and we're gonna go bananas.
Yep. So the best part about this hand is that it has a lot of lands, so that we're pretty insulated from Wasteland, so we can eventually establish being able to cast multiple colors of mana on the same turn. So it's got a pretty good plan and a pretty good establishment going forward. We have protection and action, and it's just easiest to draw mana. Opponent going land go is pretty good for us, and that's not a bad draw either.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't the 4 of I wanted to draw, but it'll do. So if we draw a Chromox next turn, we have Veil into Adnaz.
Yep.
So Chromox
And
is actually like a reasonable draw. Lotus Petal's also good.
yep. So the reason you would want to go Veil into Adnaz when it appears that you could go Adnaz into Veil is that Veil into Adnaz plays around days better.
Agreed. And there's Dread Horde.
Yep. And like I mentioned in our match against the Jeskai Mentor deck.
That was rough.
Yep.
What do you think about getting Thoughtseize?
I like it.
It's gonna
I don't
hurt
know.
if we get Wastelanded, but I think it's what we're supposed to do.
Mhm. I think we just want to force our opponent to interact with us. I'd even contemplate casting it into days.
Well, that hit 2 counters.
Except.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Our opponent does get to get on the Dreadhorde train now.
Heat Trains.
I'd love to draw Dark Ritual. That's my favorite card.
I wouldn't mind a Dark Ritual. I will still accept a Chromox. I'm not greedy.
We have many outs to do good things next turn. Opponent continues to cantrip.
I mean, honestly, I would take a Lion's Eye Diamond, but I'd rather have a Chromox. You're not going to hear me say that too often, but in this situation, I'm okay with it.
He had too many qualifiers, folks. I can't record him and get him later on that. So
Alex
opponent's
McKinley
probably...
will not be joining me on another one of these after that count.
So opponent's probably looking for more counter magic here. They might be looking for a faster threat like a Delver's Secrets.
They
or
have
Young
not played a
Power.
land.
It is true that they have not played a land. I think it's fairly like... It's possible that they were pondering for a land, because I think if they had a fetch land, they would have played one post Brainstorm. So opponent did choose to shuffle with their ponder, which I think is good news for us. This pause suggests that they're thinking about either which land to play, or they don't have one. So they might be thinking about casting another cantrip. Okay, so they have Island.
Ooh.
And
So I think this
okay.
means that they're not on Delver.
Yes. This means that they could be on like a Stifle Pokey pile. They could be on... That's not a bad draw. They could be on the Mentor deck that we faced earlier. There's a lot of options for our opponent's deck here.
I'm going to see if I can get them trying to force this Burning Wish again.
I like that. I don't think that we need to Veil if they force. I think that that's just a little bit greedy.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Please force this.
I'll even take a Daze. That's fine.
What are we getting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 mana now because Paw turned on Opal. So we're gonna hit 6 mana next turn guaranteed.
Executive decision. Gives us a backup plan, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if he get lightning bolted at some point.
Yeah, that's another consideration.
Opponent's definitely digging for something, though. That's what this feels like.
So this is either Pokepile or the Jeskai Mentor deck that we faced previously.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of complaining in Legacy about Oko, Alex. Would you agree with that?
I think I could agree with that.
What if, instead of banning Oko, they unban Luris?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Oh.
So confirm this is the same deck we played earlier tonight.
I
And we
just
had
want to have a
gotten
reason to use my Luris avatar again. That's all I was thinking.
And your avatar is already a card not legal in Legacy.
That's true.
Black Lotus. One declines to reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a shot. So opponent knows what's on top of their library, and this is either a 0 on top or a 2 on top. I
I think it might be a 1, and they just chose that. They decided that Rite of Flame didn't matter.
Okay, that's also a reasonable assumption.
So if they try to like brainstorm or something in response to this ad nauseum, we can veil. Ding, and now we veil. And if this veil resolves,
Yeah, I'm not sure if this makes the most sense.
oh, it definitely does. Because now they have to force this, or else, like, this shuts off counterbalance
Yeah, I mean, now they just force the Nas, right?
if they have it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that they would have done this line if they had force.
Sure.
Have you had a... Ooh, oh my god. Fucking brutal. Wait.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We, in fact, could have played around the days.
I guess I shouldn't concede. Alright, let's draw Lion's Eye Diamond. Or a mana. Do we play a land?
We have not played a land yet this turn.
Alright, so we can Echo here, and we are Veil protected.
I think this is our best window to do it. It's not my favorite Echo, but I think we're just so screwed otherwise. Like, resolving Veil through counterbalance is just insane for us.
I still think that was the correct line.
Yeah, I think we could have Dark Ritual first off the Witchclaw Talisman to play around days, but opponent's deck is not known for having many dazes, so the fact that they pitched one to a force earlier means it's less likely that they have more dazes.
Alright, well, we're going to get the perfect 7.
Alright, spin the wheel.
Not the perfect 7.
We have the option to cantrip off Veil somewhere here, but it's definitely better to just let our opponent untap and let ourselves untap and try and hope to draw something off the top. I also don't think it particularly matters that our opponent has this talisman. I think it's pretty good for us if they use it. Like, the best card that they could find is either Mentor, Lightning Bolt, or a second counterbalance. And I don't think that those are, like, better than us getting the claw back, right?
Yeah. Getting the claw back gives us access to tendrils, which is just big game.
Yep.
So they're probably putting a 1 on top, and then we're going to slam this defense grid. Swords to Plowshares. Third Veil.
Card. I don't hate just like burning a Veil on if they force this defense grid in the hopes that we can get something going. see how opponent responds.
Okay.
All right, all right, all right. What does that say about what they have on top?
They probably have a 1.
They can also still cast Force of Will through this.
That is true.
Is casting Veil Summer here unreasonable?
I don't think, like, I think it's pretty likely that they have a 1 on top.
Okay.
Like, I don't see the real point in doing so. Then the card was so good they decided to redraw it. Honestly, what we want to do is draw Burning Wish and just go get Tendrils. Wishclaw Talisman's also good. They chose to shuffle off the last Ponder, so that means that we're actually looking at fresh cards.
Do you like that everyone is just going to hand size?
We could lead on Veil here.
Yeah, we do have 3 of them. I don't know how much better or worse it gets for us to keep passing the turn.
The problem is that, like, I don't think they're going to force this because of the grid, so it's almost like I'd be shocked if this did anything, because even if they don't reveal a 1, yeah, I think, like, even casting that might have been a mistake, because even if it resolved, we can't do anything.
That's very fair.
And I chose not to play Lion's Eye Diamond, even though that I knew their top card was a 1, because I think that this card's just more valuable in our hand. Like, we win this game probably through Tendrils, and we're going to need every card that we can get.
I agree with that.
And once again, we're down to 17 minutes, and our opponent just has a Dread Horde, so I'm going to make them kill me. Panda. They chose not to shuffle. I'm just going to move to end step.
I think I'd rather play against Chalice of the Void than Counterbalance.
So, Counterbalance is like an annoying card. I also think it's more beatable than Chalice, to be honest, most of the time. But, like, you can, like, find ways to wiggle through now that since these Divining Top has been banned. It's just like 2 mana Jace the Mind Sculptor is pretty good with it, right?
Yeah. I'm honestly kind of surprised that it took this long for people to put it together, but I guess people have been, like, down on Counterbalance for a long time.
Well, I just don't think it's a good card in 2020 Legacy, if I'm being completely honest. And it's not like me trying to dunk on Counterbalance. It's the fact that people have real mana curves in the last few years due to, like, Oko and Uro and then, like, other things like Brazen Borrower. Like, people play 3s and 4s now where they didn't in the past.
I guess.
Alright, so they don't know their top card.
Yeah, they decided not to cantrip, which is very strange to me.
That was brutal.
Well, at least we know that they're drawing a dead card next turn.
Yeah, but that was a good window for us to win.
Yep.
Because, like, now they get another opportunity to set up with their Arcanist. So they had two blind shuffles that both countered our veils, which was pretty unfortunate. And they chose not to shuffle here. I think there's a good chance we're dead.
Mm-hmm.
They did not shuffle. If they have a bolt in hand, they could Wishclaw for bolt us.
Yeah. All right, deck. We're gonna need something here.
Not that. Yeah, it's also like sort of unfortunate that we drew literally all one casting cost cards post counterbalance.
Well, we drew this Chrome Mox.
Ooh. Fucking Mr. Technicalities over there. Yeah, we're just dead. But 15 minutes in the remaining with, so if we win game 2 and it's a long one. Alright, so we weren't drawing anything either.
Yep. We're gonna sideboard the same way we did in round 2, I believe.
This is not a slight against our first opponent, but Kentaro is probably a little bit better. Kentaro is a very good Magic player. And I feel like we might have won that one a little bit because our opponent, maybe made a few questionable decisions here or there, and that's not going to happen with Kentaro. But we're on the play for the second game, which is pretty sweet. And while we wait, why don't you go follow all of our social media channels there in the description below. Go check those out. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever the kids are doing these days. Just go do it. Game 2, we're on the play. Alex, what do you think of this 7?
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Well, if McKinley likes it, I'll mulligan.
Yeah. So it's worth noting that our opponent's deck does not play Wasteland. So our lands and mana development is pretty safe.
Okay. I guess when I said that in game 1, it wasn't revealed that they were on Jeskai yet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Except. So we're going to make the same play last time where we played Wishclaw on 2 instead of Grid on 2?
I think I want to go Petal Grid.
Okay.
Maybe that's wrong, but that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could just play Wishclaw. I don't know. Because in case they do have a wear tear.
Yeah, our opponent hasn't shown us wear tear, but I think a lot of people are just straight up copying the list from the challenges, so...
Alright, Wishclaw in play. Half the battle.
Mm-hmm. Is this an end of turn brainstorm from our opponent? Our opponent really likes these end of turn brainstorms. Alright.
Well, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because if they're tapping out for counterbalance or Dreadhorde on turn 2, it's beneficial with both of them.
Yeah. And the perfect brainstorm, quote unquote, is almost a 2-mana play.
They're passing. I wouldn't mind a land here.
Yeah.
I mean, that card's fine. I think I'm still going to play Grid. Because I don't want this to eat a Pyroblast. Let it resolve. Resolve.
So one is thinking about what if they have Daze and Force of Will, and they're thinking about which order to cast those cards in.
Don't know. They also might just be like debating Teferi right now and saying like, hey, if I allow this to resolve, what are the odds that I get to untap?
Yeah. Or if they have the weird they might be considering tearing the claw in response and forcing us to go off, and potentially denying us like LED mana or something like that.
Paying costs. Storm Dose. I don't know about you, but I don't hate an Echo here. We do have a land drop.
I hate an Echo because this gives them access to counterbalance next turn. Or that's why I don't want to Echo. Like, if we don't win off this Echo, then they have guaranteed counterbalance next turn. So that's a consideration. I guess we would have Decay on the way back, but either way, that's kind of spooky.
I shouldn't have listened to you. I feel like I should have echoed there. I should have just went for it.
So opponent has a random top card.
Paying costs.
Okay.
Sad.
So they were considering tearing our talisman in response.
Another Ponder. Getting Taiga. I'd like to see some mana.
Yeah.
Like that.
Speaking of, we could go for it this turn. Never mind. It's next turn.
Next turn, I think we have... No, we're one short. We're one short of double Veil backup. But we could play through Veil Force Days.
Uh-huh.
No, we do have double Veil backup. I'm wrong. Underground Sea is black. We have Veil. This is Wishclaw Veil.
Yeah.
We could also try to get super sneaky here, where if our opponent casts a blue card, we Veil on their end step, draw the Dark Ritual. Yep, we're going to Veil in response.
Yes. So, Counterbalance is much less scary in games 2 and 3 because we have a Replicate in our deck, and we have Talisman to go find a Replicate.
We're about to reveal this land. Alright, not the 2 mana cards I wanted to reveal. There's a Decay. A
All
little
right.
light on mana right now, but the Echo is out of the deck.
Yep. He says as he flips LED Dark Ritual, Mox Opal.
Alright, I'm going to stop here. Once again, I don't want to die to Lightning Bolt.
Mm-hmm. Also, we probably want to fetch at some point, so.
True.
Yeah, step one here is probably just decay this counterbalance and not have to worry about that. It's possible that our opponent still has counter spells, remember, because I think we snuck the Veil by them.
That is true.
So that is something to consider.
That said, we just have to get a high enough storm count for the tendrils that's still in the deck to get them.
Yep. I kind of like carpet switch phases. Because carpet's +1.
Yeah, I also like am thinking about brainstorming here because if they Pyroblast, that makes a mana and a storm.
True.
Well, it replaced itself.
Yeah, well, the Pyroblast doesn't actually make mana because they have to fetch basic mountain.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Either way, the carpet's still +1, so it's doing its job as Rite of Flame on the combo turn.
Well, so you're just assuming we always have one Rite of Flame?
Do we have a second carpet here?
Toxic Alex. So toxic.
The Storm is 6. Ritual is 7. Mox is 8. Parade is 9. Tendrils is 10. I didn't actually do any of the mana calculations, but I guess we don't even need to Wish Claw.
I think Carpet's the least valuable card. I'm trying to play out the grid first.
I agree. I'd pitch the carpet. It's the carpet of the Burning Wish, I think. Some of the reasons to play out Decay first is cards like Flusterstorm, or if our opponent is in Sanity Land where they have a Mindbreak Trap, which they probably don't have, given that we resolved 4 spells on their last turn.
Force Pitch Daze.
Alright. And even if an opponent has like a Flusterstorm here, that's fine. We can just like either Echo on our next turn or Peer. I'm not actually sure which is better, but
so we could also LED Crack for green, Wish Claw, and Veil. Although I feel like that's a little aggressive because I feel like we have the inevitability with the 5 cards we had in hand.
Yep. So going into game 3, I don't believe we want to make any changes. We can just run it back.
I would agree with that. 11 green card Storm. How high do we have to get our green count to support Force of Vigor? I mean, 11 cards. It's pretty good.
Yep.
I mean, there's not a single matchup where I want Force of Vigor and these 8 cards, though. So.
Yeah, also, I think taking 4 to Force of Vigor off ad nauseum would just be really unfun.
I mean, I've taken 3 a number of times. Ugh. If we could rip Trop on turn 1, hand is unstoppable. That said, I don't think we can keep this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So tempting.
It's so defeating. Why couldn't this Ponder be a fetch?
Alright.
I think we have to
I'll
bottom the
take this, though.
Chromox.
I agree. I like bottoming Chromox.
That 7 was so good. Oh, accidentally playing around carpet. You love to see it. Ooh, good draw. If they play a turn 2 Dreadhorde, I think I actually want to decay it. Alright, so they kept a 7, right?
No,
they mulliganed.
Yeah. There's no need to play into Pyroblast here, and Carpet doesn't actually do anything. So we can just continue to develop our lands. Because we have counterbalance covered, we're not actually super scared of that. I wouldn't be shocked if they had one here, given they kept kind of an anemic start. And here is Island. Okay, Dreadhorde.
So spooky. If we want to brainstorm, it's pretty free to do so here before they can play land 3.
Yep.
I'm thinking about putting back the Decay, but I feel like it's a little risky. Instead, I'm going to put back this Petal and hope to brainstorm into Veil.
Yep. I definitely agree with that.
Oh, I guess I can get Trop here. It's going to shut us off of red, though.
I think that's fine.
Veil Summer or Grid? I guess they could daze this as well.
Brainstorm here.
Second Claw is not bad.
Second Claw kind of does it.
Maybe. Oh, I think I might have made a mistake there. Maybe I should have taken Petal over the Decay because it's a Storm count. I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt.
All right. So we Dark Ritual up to 5.
I have a feeling it's gonna bite me. It just resolved.
That was a fast resolution. So we're a mana short of activate Second Claw for Veil this turn, right?
I'm like kicking myself because I feel like I messed up. So if we had taken the Chrome Mox, that would be Storm 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'd be a Storm short anyway. So that's not the end of the world. I think we're supposed to just Decay. I don't know. We could Echo, actually, with Veil back up.
I like Echoing here.
So we're going to do blue-green.
Don't crack the second LED, right?
I think we should.
Well, before we tutor, unless we're hard casting Echo.
No. Oh, you're right. You're right. My bad. Sorry, I was thinking too far ahead. So we cracked the first one then.
For green. Crack the first one. We need to leave blue-green floating here. Or just green floating. Or, wow, I'm tired.
This is our window. If they have Force, it's going to feel bad. There's Force.
We do have Days Beat, which is nice.
Okay, all right. So we still have a land drop.
Deck.
I mean, I think we cast Brainstorm off this Petal.
I agree.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hell fucking
Got
yeah!
There.
We drew both black 1-ups.
Yep. All right, let's pull up some good Magic cards here.
No, there's dead.
Yeah.
Did you think we had Naz, or am I not understanding you?
Ignore me.
Okay, you thought we had a Naz.
No, I didn't think we had to Nas. Never mind.
Okay, maybe I just don't get it. But yeah, we finished it 4-1. That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
sweet. I'm gonna update our
Yeah, we
record.
faced this. It looks like this Jeskai deck is kind of real. Um, we did manage to beat it twice, but it felt close. I think that that from this deck from this league we learned that that deck is good, and that this sideboard is where very well set up to beat it.
Yeah, the triple decay was huge. Um,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Myself and Alex, I know that we might banter a little too often. I don't know. You can let us decide or let us know what you think in the comments. Shame Alex for cutting Rite of Flame. Make sure to do that. Follow all the social links below. Follow Alex on Twitter. I think he has 5 followers. Go follow Alex. Like, do the guy a favor. Go follow him. He's at the virus. Do you have an
Reverse underscore.
the virus underscore? Maybe I'll put that in the video description as well, so that way Alex can get some clout or something.
If I'm lucky.
If he's lucky. But once again, thank you for watching. I had a great time. I hope you did as well, Alex.
I did, in fact, and yeah, let us know in the comments if what you think of this new sideboard map. We're going to continue to iterate on this for the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
All right, cool. Take care. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.